What's going
All
on? What's going on, man?
right. How's it going, everybody? We are back with the Digital Ministry Support Network,
Here we are.
and here we are. Yeah, Tuesdays, 1 o'clock. And I'm pretty excited. Like last week was amazing. Like getting to dive in with Lauren into YouTube, how to set that up. I got to learn some stuff. I don't know about you, Icky, but
Yeah,
it
absolutely,
was
man.
just a
That's some
good
good
time.
tips. Good tips. Good tips.
So yeah, so if you missed that, make sure you go back, check out last week's episode. It was a real close like dive into one specific aspect of digital ministry. And today we're kind of going to go the opposite direction. Instead of looking at things really closely, we're going to go like 40,000 foot view, like way up high.
Which is super
So
important, actually, because it gives you direction, right? I mean, if you don't know what you're trying to do or what you want to accomplish, you could be just doing random things.
yeah, right. And that is such a it's kind of easy to get derailed and sidetracked into chasing various rabbits in digital ministry world. You're looking at next thing you know, you're just focused on your viewer count or your,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's your new attendance, stuff like that. And yeah, you're right. You got to figure out what is it you're trying to do.
Right.
So, so we're gonna like look at this from the context that maybe, just maybe, we should be in the business of making disciples. And so we'll take the Great Commission as kind of our goal and focus. And we want to talk, in fact, Icky, when we first started putting together the Digital Ministry Support Network, we kind of talked about it through three lenses. We kind of came up with these three lenses that I felt were probably a good representation. There's, I'm sure, things missing from it. It's not ideal, but this idea of content, care, and connection, these three areas that we are trying to accomplish things when it comes to digital ministry, right?
Absolutely.
Three kind of goals. So we're gonna look at our strategy. Icky knows this. Anybody that knows me pretty well knows this pretty easily. I am a strategy nerd. I love strategy board games. I love strategy video games. I love strategy. Yeah, strategery is where I live in my head. It's just it's just my thing. And so anytime I can think of making something more strategic and more intentional, I'm all over it. So that's always what I'm about. So maybe to a fault, maybe.
No, but
But
it's a good thing. You need one on the team. You always need somebody who's thinking about that.
yeah. So as we kind of take a look, I created a Venn diagram. This is going to kind of guide our discussion. And what I want to do is everybody, as you're watching, like toss in your thoughts, your ideas, your questions. We want this to be a dialogue, especially today. Especially today. But I mean every week, but help me out. Like help me out, guys. Especially today. Let's make this kind of a dialogue. So this is actually a working graphic I've been working with lately, just trying to clarify things in my own head when it comes to digital ministry for my church. And I think it could help you out as well. And we'll kind of use it to frame. So we're going to start on the left-hand side, right below me, right down there. I guess it'd be right that way, right over there. So what I want you to do is think about the content, digital content we're putting out, right? What is the purpose of the digital content we're putting out? What is it that we're trying to do? If we're trying to create disciples, what kinds of things help do that? Obviously, strategery, yes. Yep, I've picked up some language along the way. As you're looking what it is you're trying to do, you want to think through, are the things that we are doing digitally helping me do what I'm trying to do? Really basic question, right? So is my worship service helping build disciples? If so, how? How can I make my worship service, if maybe you're in a church and it's only digital, maybe it's outside and it's online, but whatever it might happen to be, how can you optimize it so that helps people make disciples? Are you giving them interactive moments where they can give feedback? Are you giving them discussion questions throughout the week? Are you giving them action steps? What is it that you're doing with your digital content, right? And so you can choose, maybe you're doing devotional videos, or you're emailing devotions. Maybe you're texting a devotion. Like there's some great text services. Flocknote is one of those. Like we use Flocknote because it's budget friendly, and it's been great. It's been really great. So we can text reminders, and we can text prayers if we need to, things of that nature. Social media posts are obviously a big part of that, and we'll come back. And then worship is a big part of that. So what are the different things that you're doing, and are they helping us make disciples, right? That's the key. And so when we look at that, I want to show you kind of what maybe a social media calendar might look like. So we got another graphic here where if you look at a calendar for your social media, say, okay, what is it that you're going to do on a Monday? All right, you might do a verse of the day from YouVersion. Maybe you do a Monday Night Live, or some time where you go live and answer questions, or go through a scripture together with a pastor. On Tuesdays, maybe you can post prayer requests, and you ask for prayer requests, or you invite some discussion about a question, right? On Wednesday, maybe you welcome new people. If you have a church group on Facebook or whatnot, or just new followers, just say, thanks so much for following. We hope this helps you grow. And on Thursday, maybe you spotlight one of your ministries. Are you looking for volunteers? Or do you want to celebrate what some of your volunteers, or some of your donations, or some of the things that have been going on? One of the things we tried to highlight this last week was our volunteers at our worship service, actually. And so like we wanted to highlight the people that are behind the scenes. What are all the people that in the background of your church that people don't usually see? And on Fridays, keep it light, have some fun. Saturdays, they're going to get your worship service if you're digitally streaming, and then Sundays, maybe you repost the live stream of your worship service. Right? So, hey, in case you missed it yesterday, if you were gone or tuned in somewhere else, here's where you can find it. So things like that creates a strategy for your social media calendar. And what's neat is most social media, I don't know, Icky, are you a scheduler on social media?
No, I need to be though. But strategy, absolutely. Scheduling, need to do a better job of that. In fact, I've been doing that more recently, actually, to create a better schedule for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and there are some amazing tools. Like Flocknote will literally let us schedule text messages, and I can schedule them like a whole week, a month at a time. Facebook or places like Hootsuite does a great job across multiple social media platforms. You can just schedule out all of your posts, and you're done in one sitting, instead of having to be like, oh, I forgot to make a post today.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Just having one thing hang on your plate. It's tough that way, right?
It is. And one of the secrets for really good content that creates a following is consistency. So the power of that scheduling allows for people to have consistency, as opposed to me. Like I'm like always running and gunning. I'm like, shoot, I got to do this again. This is Tuesday. I got to do this again. It's Thursday, right? Whereas if you could schedule it like that, Tim, that makes it so much easier.
So I have I asked and got a volunteer from my church, and she is phenomenal. I will sit down on Zoom with her every week on Thursdays. It's what I do. It's clockwork. It's during her lunch break at work, and she and I will run through the social media calendar real quick. Just what's going on, what's coming up, what kind of stuff is in my head, what's going on in the church. And then she'll queue up all the social media posts. And so by doing that, that allows me to kind of just 15, 20 minutes check in with a volunteer. And it gives her every week, she feels like she's always in the loop. She knows she can make posts and things as needed. It's a great tool. But that's just content. And so one of the things I want, like, here's what I'm wrestling with, and I want you to wrestle with me, because this is a digital ministry support network, right? So we're going to support each other.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
Right. So we've got content, my question is, what is the next step? If I give them a devotional, if I give them a social media post, what's the next step that I am inviting them into? Right? Am I inviting them to join a group? Am I inviting them to volunteer? Am I inviting them to give? Am I inviting them to check out something on our website? Because if they'll go one step beyond, then I've gotten a little momentum towards helping them engage with more things that are part of our church life that hopefully have Jesus surrounding all of it, and their relationship with Christ is just growing and thriving each step of the way, right? So that brings us to care. So not only do we provide content, that takes a lot of our time. Care, in my estimation, is the hardest one. If content's the easiest, care is the hardest to provide, and that can be done. And Icky, if you can think of some other ways that this happens as well, let me know as we're going along here. But how do people connect for prayer right now? How do they get a prayer request to you? How do they say, hey, I'm financially hurting? How do they say, hey, I'm trying to make a big decision and I'd love somebody to talk to? How, do they volunteer? How do they say, hey, I'd love to volunteer for something? How do these things happen? So I think one of the great things for that is a website. Your church website can be really useful for that.
Page. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I came across this one. I want to show it to you. This is a cool, I thought a real basic, I have no idea whose church this is, to be honest. So I came across it in looking through things, and they just have hey, we're here to help, just an encouraging message. Here's where you can donate, of course. How you can help: you can love your neighbor, and you can see the ways you can do that, or serve in the community, see ways you can do that. They got resources, a bunch of lists for financial, food, medical, utilities, childcare, transportation, and then they got a place for prayer requests. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty user-friendly. I don't know if you've seen other pages like this, Icky.
No, this is a good one. But actually, I have. I mean, but across our conference, we've got a few churches that have gotten pretty decent at it. Not all of us.
Yeah.
But some of us have gotten there.
Yeah. What I like about this one is it's simple, right? So
you want user intuitiveness, you want it to be user friendly, really simple. If your page has a ton of things going on, it is very hard for someone who's not familiar with your church or your page to find what they need to find. This is what's nice about this website that you're showing.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about your website from the perspective of the person who's on your website. What is it that they're looking for, right? And so they've really put together what it is someone visiting their site might be looking for and needing. So think through your website when it comes to your strategy. Think about your website in terms of, how can I help get people connected and cared for, like to really find, and maybe it doesn't have to be a website. Maybe they have a certain number they can text and somebody's going to respond to them. Maybe it's a simple form on your website, or maybe it's a form on your social media, right? Whatever it might happen to be, that's one way we show care. I think another way we show care is with a host team. And I gotta tell you, I'm in love with our host team. Like, it's just a few people, but Icky, this is the coolest thing. And I'm gonna be like, yay. But my 11-year-old daughter is on our host team.
Yeah.
Right? So my 11-year-old daughter, yeah.
That's called child labor, bro.
No, she loves it. She loves hopping on, and we use a church online platform. But even if you just go to Facebook or YouTube, someone that's a moderator, someone that's just there, and they know that their role is to be there to encourage people, to get conversation going between people, to pray with people if you use a platform that allows for that. Just someone like there, because yes, your worship service, right? It's our biggest thing every week. And how do we highlight it? With a host team, if you just recruit a couple volunteers, even one volunteer, start with one, right? One volunteer, and the host team can really take it and make people feel welcome. And I drop in notes of encouragement to them regularly, just saying, hey guys, thanks so much for making our online guests feel welcome. It's really great. So and then a final way that what are you laughing at?
Someone said, put that on her resume. Your
Yeah.
daughter's
Oh yeah.
resume.
Oh yeah. I see
That's
that.
awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's super simple.
Yeah,
It's
it
not,
is.
it's not complicated. So and the final way we can offer care is a call team. Like, we're missing connection right now.
Yeah.
I feel it. We all feel it. I miss giving people hugs, handshakes, high fives, right? It's just not the same. And one of the things that we can do to help bridge a little bit of that is a call team. Because if you look at your church, you probably don't have, few enough people that you as the pastor can call all of them. So create a network of call. And what we're working on right now is actually trying to break people up according to who people naturally talk to as best we can.
Yeah.
And so that I have about a dozen or so people that I call, and then those dozen or so people all call the rest of the church in one way or another.
And
So
that call team doesn't have to, when you think about a call team or calling, you're not on the phone for an hour or an hour and a half. You're calling in, you're really intentional about your call, but that call matters to the people who you're calling. So, set your time limit of how long you're going to be on that call, 15, 20 minutes, whatever. But make sure that you know that, so that when you're coming on, you have an exit strategy to get out of that call as well.
Absolutely. And you as the leader can do some things around that. You can design call sheets and you can send it out to your people and be like, hey, here's the 3 questions we're looking for an answer to this week. And 2 of them are probably the same every single time, but maybe there's a third one and you're just trying to feel the pulse of where your church is, because it's hard to know where people are at right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So create call sheets. That's a great point.
So just to put this out there, I've probably said this before, but Saddleback Church, they have a call team, and they've called every one of their 30,000, however many members they have. And a friend of mine was sharing this because they've got family that attend there, and they got a call. You know how special that feels to get a call from the church team. So even if you don't have a church team, but you got a church of 50 or 60, just sit down and schedule out some time to call them, because it really matters. It really matters. And if a church of 30, 40, 50, 60,000 people could figure out a way to call each one of their members, we should be able to figure out a way between us and maybe our head elder, or if you have a pastor or just yourself, schedule out some time. It's going to matter to your peoples. It's going to matter more than having a really cool online service.
Absolutely. You want the biggest bang for your buck out of everything today? Mm-hmm. Go do that. Get your call team together. That's the one. So
yeah, it's killer good.
And then in that, again, ask what's your next steps. If someone visits your website, what's the next thing you want to invite them to? What is it that you want your host team each week to invite people to? What's the next step that they're inviting? And then your call team, what's the next step that they might be offering to people and inviting people to? Always just constantly asking, okay, what's next? But what's next? What's the next thing for these people, so that they have it clear in their own head? What's next? So next thing for us is connection, content, care, and connection. Connection is just this interpersonal connection. So you could put your care team, your call team here in some ways, but in reality, a lot of these, it's a Venn diagram for a reason, right? They blend together. But groups are probably the biggest part of our connection strategy when it comes to digital ministry. So what is it? Are you training your leaders, your small group leaders, for doing groups online? Because it's very different. It's completely different doing a group online, leading a small group online, and leading a small group in person. So, yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
Between managing Zoom, what do you use? What content? Do I show a video and have a discussion? Do I just have a discussion? And we've tried all sorts of things in the last 10, 11 months. I don't know if you've been part of very many small groups online, Icky, and what you've seen work and not work. But like, there's a lot of options still, even though you're online.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the difficulties of having a small group online is if you don't intimately know the other people, it's really hard to read body language. So, in person, when you're leading a small group, you can read the room really well by body language, and nonverbal cues. But online, oh man, that's impossible. Not impossible, but it's really hard to do if you don't know the group. So, it's a challenge.
It is. And that so simple things like saying, hey, as part of group, we're gonna try as best we can to always leave our cameras on unless we literally have to step away for a minute. And that's our sign that, hey, I had to step away for a minute. But that allows some transparency and some vulnerability to take place. Yeah. So there's small groups, there's resources for small groups, whether it's a sermon discussion, other kinds of curriculum, going through a book of the Bible with the discussion guide.
Or
There's
digital ministry support network kind of small group, right?
yeah,
Where we can help each other grow in professional tools of digital stuff.
absolutely. Absolutely. So there's so much out, YouVersion Bible has a bunch of stuff right now, media, the Bible Project. There's loads of like you can find your resources. If you need resources, you're in the right spot. We can
Yeah,
direct you all
absolutely.
sorts of places. So you can also look at groups, by the way, as social groups. So you can use Facebook groups fairly effectively to help people feel a little bit more connected to one another, encourage people to post and things as part of Facebook groups. It really can make a difference. And then, of course, your volunteer groups, those that are setting up your equipment or operating it. What are you doing to help connect your volunteers with one another? Because part of our like people should have some of that benefit as volunteers as they feel more connected to other people. And so that kind of completes our circuit. Again, out of those connection steps, if someone's in a small group, can you get them to, are they part of a call team, host team? How are they using your website? Are they engaged in your devotionals and growing that way individually as well? Are they, attending your worship service online or various things like that? You can look at various overlaps and what are the next steps for people? Is it becoming a group leader? Maybe it's just going deeper in on the connection level. So the final thing I want to talk about is really next gen, and because I think it completes the digital media digital ministry strategy, and that's what do we do with our kids and our teens? This is a big deal, you guys. Very few, I forget what the percentage was, but it's only like 20% of churches are offering anything for kids online, and it's just not good enough. It's not good enough, and so we really want to try this, and there are some cool tools out there. I'm going to briefly flash through a couple. One of them is Playlister. Playlister will look like this. Here, this is our website. And so this is our preschool, elementary, middle school, high school. And you can click on any one of these, and it will take you to, that's off our website, and it will take you to this. And it's a little media player that you get with Playlister. You guys, this is only $13 a month. $12.99.
Man, that thing is awesome.
You hit watch now and you step through. There's my awesome wife saying hi to kids. Some of the curriculum videos, stuff like that we have. And so that all comes right from our website. And so families can engage right here, and it all gets put together on this site by our volunteers. So there's various playlists. Each playlist has a link, and I embed that link into the button on our website each week. It takes like 5 minutes to embed. And the volunteers, they can upload their videos, queue them up in the proper order, and they're good to go. So Playlister is amazing. That allows you to get content, when you're talking content, to kids and teens. And then additionally, you still want to offer care and connection, right? So there's content. Care and connection means, for kids, it means actually talking to parents who have a lot more time with their kids than we do. So are you engaging parents and saying, hey, parents, here's a discussion for the dinner table that goes with your kids, lesson this week, or here's a craft to do with your preschooler. And then you can also do Zoom groups with kids, elementary, middle school, high school. Those are easy. You could do like a story time. I know we have a volunteer that does story time with our preschoolers every Tuesday night. So you can connect with the next generation a lot of different ways, between connecting with parents through social media, texts, and emails, connecting with kids through Playlister and Zoom groups, and just trying to help them understand what are the next steps. Can we provide content, care, and connection for the next generation?
I'm going to
So
testify a little bit about what you guys have said as far as content, care, and connection for the next generation, Tim. So I actually follow Tim's digital ministry fairly tightly. We love what they're doing over there with their pastoral and volunteer team. And my kids have Sabbath school with Tim's program and Tim's teachers. So my kids see Tim and Tim's teachers, and they're like, "Oh, it's our this and that." And I actually have created like a group of about 20 or 22 like families that have been connecting through via every Sabbath, just because we want to make sure that we have stuff for our kids, and the kids are addicted to it. They love it. Like if I can't host it on a Sabbath because I've got other things I've got to do, they like lose their minds. So like I've got to call the other parents, and they're like, yeah, okay, we'll run it this time. And so just to share how important this is, especially during this time, if you don't already have one, you need to find a way to have something for that next gen. It is as I'm telling you, as a parent with little kids who are addicted to this Sabbath school, and they're all these little children that are addicted to this program. It's imperative for your ministry, for your church ministry, that you do this.
at such a critical time in our history, in all of our lives, probably the most memorable time potentially we'll ever have in our lives as far as corporate identity.
Mm-hmm.
We can't have the church missing from that
No ways.
in kids' memories, you know?
Something that you guys do, Connect Care content that I want to share. It's kind of a pro tip. You don't just have a digital ministry, which is really cool. It's actually a good one, and it's a lot of fun for the kids. But the teachers also send out stuff to the families, to the kids. Like they mail them. They get mail. Like my daughter gets mail from Tim or from one of the teachers, and she's like, kids don't know what mail is. They're emailers. Oh, what is this? Like they sent me a sugar cane, and like candy cane, and she'll live with that for like days on out because that happened. So when we're talking about that strategy, we're talking about not just having a program that's available for them, but finding a way to reach out as well and connect with them. Little ollies, little dolls all the kids love that. So that kind of stuff. So important.
My Ollie pin actually is right here. Oh, check that out.
When your child gets this thing, not only are they addicted to like the actual digital ministry, they check that and they're like, whoa, I got something. I'm telling you, it locks them in. And parents, because parents have to be nearby, locks parents in to be a part of that ministry as well. So it's
absolutely help parents disciple their children. Mm-hmm. Like we pre-pandemic, we kind of had this thing going where you kind of dropped your kids off at the church and said, here, you do your thing so my kids stay in church. That our kids are never going to have a faith that we don't have as parents. Help our parents disciple our kids. And that's by sending resources, making sure the kids are excited to be part of things, right? Giving them conversation tips. There's so much. Like one of these weeks, we'll do a deep dive into next gen ministry or into Playlist or some of that stuff. So.
Yeah. And if you consider how we are coming into homes today, it is like the mustard seed, finding ways to break through into people's homes. So even though, parents used to do that, they just drop their kids and take off. Now you go right into their home and the parents are nearby. So not only are you ministering to children, but you're also having an opportunity to minister to parents who are listening along because they have to be nearby their kids and you're in their home. It's fantastic.
Yep. And it's funny, pre-pandemic, we almost never mailed anything out. It was like tax receipts, and that was it, right? But since the pandemic, we're mailing out communion kits. We're mailing out stuff for kids. We mailed or dropped off all of our VBS kits when we did VBS over the summer. So like there are ways, and they're just like packed full of stuff. So there are ways. Let's make it happen, guys. Digital ministry strategy. Let's think strategically how to offer content, care, and connection, and challenge people to take their next step closer to Jesus. So, any questions out there? Anybody got any thoughts, questions? Hopefully, this 40,000 foot view was useful in challenging some thinking. It's quiet today, Icky. It's quiet.
I think you covered it all, man. It's this strategy is really important to have. It's important to have because otherwise, if you're just trying to get views, it's a sinking ship. Oh, but
yeah,
that's for another day. We'll talk about that in an upcoming.
You know, as we finish up, one thing I think that's really a great piece is just to regularly evaluate what you're doing and why it is you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, just to sit back and say, okay, what am I doing? Is it helping us accomplish our mission? Would something else be better? Or does this need an improvement? Does it to be more effective?
Absolutely.
How effective is it? You know? So,
and as we close out, we also want to put out there that if you have any questions, please make sure that you drop them into a comment or you email us, and we'll make sure that we will touch on those things in the future. We've got a lot of really cool issues that are coming out. So make sure that you drop in your 2 cents too, so we can cover that. And if you have any cool tips, put it in this page. This is what this page is for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we would love to hear from you. If there's something you're struggling with right now and they're never going to get to this question.
Yeah.
Just post the question. I promise you we're going to get to it real quick.
Yeah.
So we don't have a backlog of questions right now. We want to help you. So if any of, like, we just covered almost all of digital media strategy. So that had to have brought up a question somewhere. If you've got one, you want help walking through a specific thing, let us know.
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh, this is great. There's a question here. This is not something one person can do well. Any advice on how to build a team to help with this strategy? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I don't, for me, I'm a one person at a time kind of person. Like, I could announce it to the church and I will almost never get a bunch of people like raising their hand, like, let me volunteer. I don't know about you, Icky. Maybe you've been part of different churches, but yeah, but I knew someone. So for my social media volunteer, I knew somebody that was competent, that was actually in advertising, though not in social media for their profession. And this person was also on, I'm on social media, so I saw they're on social media regularly. So she and I had a discussion, and I just said, hey, I could use this. Here's what it kind of looks like. Here's a kind of sort of job description. I didn't even write it all out. And I was like, I think like the impact you would have would be amazing. And since she said yes, and she just has run with it. And it's funny because in the advertising firm, she's now talking to the social media people in the advertising firm she works for to get tips for us as a church to use in social media stuff. And it's not one for one, obviously, because we have different goals than just an advertising firm. But it's great to hear, some legit professional recommendations and things like that. So I think just one person at a time, if you can get one person for your social media strategy, just start there. If you want to do the call team, start with your board. I think that's your best place to start, and say, hey, part of our board job descriptions right now is I'm going to assign each of you X number of people. You need to call them at least once a month or every other week or something like that. So that would be another way. What else? Icky,
I would start by remembering that you are not a one pastor team. There's always somebody else, whether you are aware of it or not. I mean, first of all, there's Jesus, so there's two of you right there. But if you're a part of a church, there's always going to be someone else there who could be a part of your team. So think in terms of team. Think of building out your team. Don't always think about I've got to do all this myself. Think about empowering people. And then you ask, okay, so God, who have you put in my church? If it's social media, most likely anyone 20 years old and down to like 6 will know how to use social media. So look in that age bracket because you'll already have somebody who's into that. If you're looking at a call team or the other part of that, look to your elders. You've got to at least have one elder or somebody who's close to you like an elder or a board member or someone there. And it's that simple. Just start there. Be prayerful. Keep your eyes out. You'll notice people who has gifts. All pastors, you all know. You know your church members. You know who you could ask to do stuff, and start there. Don't make it complex or complicated. Start where you are. Not everyone has an advertising pro like Tim, but you got somebody there. You got somebody who could do something.
Absolutely. It can help like with this big strategy, right? You can take this whole thing and say, okay, what is my 5-year goal? What would I love to see happen? And what are all the slots that the different kinds of people I need to fill this out? And then just keep going back to that. Don't forget, it's your strategy. It's your roadmap. It's where you're headed. Your journey, you want it to go that way. And so you pray over that thing. You keep your eyes open as you're going through it. And the longer you're just kind of with that, God's going to open up doors. I firmly believe it, where he's just going to be like, hey, you remember? I remember you needed a preschool person to do story times on Zoom. I got your person. Yeah, just be ready, you know. Or whatever it happens to be. Like I really think God will help you, but having that strategy ahead of time is important. Otherwise, you just go towards whatever happens, and you want more direction, more intentionality, I think, than that.
Yeah, he who is faithful with little will be giving much, right? So if you don't have any idea of where you're gonna go with what you got, there's no real reason for you to be growing any, because you're not going to know what to do with that. So have a strategy, because that keeps you in your lane. You're not worried about, do I have like 5,000 viewers? The point of all this is not for you to have 5,000, 10,000 viewers. It's for you to have quality content for those who will view it. And we're all a niche product. So you don't need 10,000 viewers. You just need to have a really good product for what it's meant for.
Yeah. If you make one really great disciple this year, that's a huge win.
That's a win. Absolutely.
Right? Jesus is like, oh yeah, no, I left the 99 for the one. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Like
you're like, but I want 99. I want 99. Yeah. Like,
right?
Slow your roll.
So focused. No.
Slow your roll. Yeah. Strategy. Know what you are meant to do. Know your functionality.
Yeah. Yeah. Just go for do for the one, which you wish you could do for everyone.
Yeah.
But if you get really good at doing things for one person, recruiting one person at a time, it will build momentum over time.
Absolutely.
So that was a great question. All right. I don't see any others coming into you. Am I missing any questions, Icky?
No.
All right, you guys, thanks so much. I'm excited. Next week, we're going to talk audio, right?
Yes. Audio tech with Senor Pastor Pono Lopez.
I can't wait. I'm going to learn something next week.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. You guys need to tune in. It'll be good.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys next week. Remember, you can, we are opening up this group. So it'll still be a closed group because that keeps robots out of it. But if you have a member that you would like to invite, somebody that you're trying to draw in to help you out, feel free to bring them along. We want you to feel safe to do that. We'll also be posting some of these on YouTube, and then on the conference website, there will also be a spot there to download some of these resources. So we're trying to do our best to get it out to you so that it's useful for you. But we're excited to be on this journey with you. It's an honor. Nobody's done ministry like this before in history, y'all. So we get to be the first. We can make it happen.
Yes.
All right. Be blessed. Have a great week.
Take care, everybody.